Good evening, my name is Sam Bender, and I'm going to go over StringBuilder in this tutorial. I'm going to do a quick little refresher on strings, maybe go over a few things that I didn't touch on in the last tutorial, and explain to you why using StringBuilder is often a better choice. So, as mentioned, in terms of what strings are, so string is an immutable, unchangeable sequence of characters. And I'm going to go over a quick little example on escape characters. So let's say we had a string, and let's call that string, let's call it file path. And let's say it is C hello world bar foo.cs. And I didn't mean to do that. I obviously have that backwards. So you can immediately see we're getting these little red squiggly lines, which saying there's an error. And it's an unrecognized escape sequence. And so a way to fix that, there's two ways to fix that. One, I can escape the backslash. So when I print it out to the console, it would be C:\\\. And when I show the second one, my temp, I can escape each and every one. And that solution works. Prove it to you. But it's a little ugly. Hold on. Let me get that read line in there so it doesn't close until I press something. So as you can see, it's not showing two backslashes, it's showing one because it escaped the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, right? So like I said, I mean, yeah, it works. It's a solution, but it's a little ugly. The second way to fix that same solution is with what we call a verbatim string literal. And that's as simple as just putting an @ symbol at the beginning of the string. So that's a simpler and faster way of doing exactly what we just did. Let's see here. So as you see, it is exactly what we just did. Instead of doing each and every slash, you just do one @ symbol. So that's called a verbatim string literal. That's a pretty common interview question. How do you escape each backslash in a string when doing a file path or something similar? And as mentioned, those are escape sequence characters. So there's a bunch. It'd be easier just to Google it. I'll go ahead and put a few of those in the comments for you after I stop my program. So the most common one I would say would be new line. This is backslash. That would show a backslash. That would be a new line. This would be a alert. You don't really use this one very often, but a horizontal tab would be T. Carriage return. And as you can see, it kind of follows that same syntax. There's a lot more. There's a single quote, which would be backslash single quote. You can do double quote, backslash double quote. You can do a null, backslash 0. You can do a backspace, backslash B. You can do a form feed, backslash F. You can do a vertical tab, backslash V. So those are a few things that you may see pretty often when coding or when just manipulating strings. Another way you can mess with strings would be concatenation. And so if I wanted to add something to the end of the string, I could do plus equals, and I would probably do and now you can see I appended that string, that my project value to the end of that string. You can even do it a different way. So if I had name equals Sam, and let's say I had last name equals Bender, and if I wanted to do you could do first name plus last name and there you'd get the full name. Something that is new in C# 6.0 is interpolation. I would show you, but my Visual Studio is not up to date. But I'll explain to you how it works. It'll probably not work on your computer unless you are eager and updated Visual Studio, but it basically works like this. So you would do something like, I don't know, int x equals 4, and then so that is how you would do it. You see I'm getting right squiggly because I don't have the most up-to-date Visual Studio that supports C# 6.0, but basically just any valid C# expression and any type can appear within the braces. So currently I can do that exact same thing this way. I would probably just do 0, and then I would pass in that x. So that's analogous to what we just did, but interpolation is the new way that they're going to be doing it in C# 6.0. So I said this tutorial would be about StringBuilder. So let's go ahead and start that. So let's create a string variable. And let's do full name plus equals we're just going to keep appending things to the end of this string. So as mentioned, every time you do a string, it's a new reference point in memory. So this is essentially 3 different string references in memory. Now that's good and all, but it's not good for memory if you're going to consistently manipulate these strings. So let's use the string builder. And the way to do that would be string builder. And same type of syntax. Samuel save. Instead of using plus equals, the string builder has an append method, which essentially does the exact same thing. So instead of creating 3 different string references, the string builder creates just one. So you would say, okay, well, what's the big deal? This one did 3, this one's 1. That's not really that big of a difference. Well, let's say we have a string. We'll call it user string, and we'll equal it to string.empty. You could do this too. Equals just an empty string. It'd be more or less the exact same thing, string.empty. But that's just nowhere here nor there. And this is going to be some new syntax that you guys have not seen before, but just follow along, and I'll go over for loops and for eaches in a later tutorial, but just follow along. So you do for var I equals 0, I is less than 100,000. Like that user string, and we'll plus equals that I dot to string, and we'll add a space at the very end of it. So this would $100,000 string objects, and that's a lot, obviously. And you would more or less have a 100,000 orphan strings. So this is create 1, then we create 100,000, we'd have 100,001, and now we'd have one that we are currently referencing, which would be the very last one, and then we'd have 100,000 string orphans just sitting there in memory. It's wasting space. So a much better approach would be, for this example, would be to use string builder. So let's go ahead and make a string builder variable. We'll call it your user string. do the same exact thing. Your user string dot append, and let's just throw, I don't know, an A. So in this example, there wouldn't be string objects, any orphan string objects, because StringBuilder is immutable. So if anyone ever asks for a practical example on why StringBuilder is so much better, show them this exact example. So I'll give you a quick understanding, a quick run through of how this for loop works. So you have a variable of I. We started with 0. It's going to continue to loop around until I is no longer less than 100,000. So currently I is 0. It says, hey, am I less than 100,000? Yes, I am. I'm 0. I go down here. I append A to my empty string. So right now I'm just space A. I come back in the loop. I is now 1 because we incremented it here. So I is now equal to 1. It says, is I less than 100,000? Yes, 1 is definitely less than 100,000. So we increment I to 2. And we go ahead and do this task within the body. So now we have space A, we incremented I by 1, I is now 2. I says, is 2 less than 100,000? Yes, 2 is less than 100,000. We increment I is now 3. We go ahead and add another A, because execute this because this is true. And this continues to do this until I reaches 100,000. So once I is up to 100,000, it will say, is 100,000 less than 100,000? The answer to that is no. It's not less, it's equal. So it would not execute this I++, it would not execute this code right here, and then it would jump out of the loop. And that's basically how for loops work. But I'll go over that in further detail on another tutorial, but this is just trying to show you what strings are and what string builders are and when to use one or the other. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and if you did, I urge you to continue to watch these tutorials. I implore you to continue to work on your craft and try to make your own apps, because being a software developer comes with great rewards. You get to solve problems, you get to work with the coolest companies, and it pays well too. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.